Hello again. Well, as you can tell, I finally got back from the new Ghostbusters just a little bit while ago, and I'm going to say right now that it's not the disaster everyone, well, at least a lot of people expect it to be. I mean, I'm just putting it on the table because I thought it'd be important to hear before you decide to watch the rest of this. So, while this reboot may tread familiar waters, there's their point where the concept is definitely familiar if you've seen the earlier films in the 80s. It still manages to carve out what's definitely, for my money, an amusing take on Sunday, as well as another exciting piece to add to the Ghostbusters canon. I mean, even if it stars a new cast of some of the most talented female actors in Hollywood, the initial concept remains the same. Him three New York scientists, as played by Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, and Kate McKinnon, and then are joined by a young African American woman played by Leslie Jones, and I don't know where to fight. All ghosts are definitely causing chaos in New York, and much like the original cast members, they have been very funny on Saturday Night Live and other movies as well, and for all those people that are definitely throwing shade at Leslie Jones, I gotta tell you, you are going to be glad she's in this movie. I mean, that some of the biggest laughs I got out of this were from her, man. And by that proxy, even though a lot of the backlash against the film was merely a problem, they actually managed to come up with a solution to simply get that kind of response in the film. There actually are scenes where they're actually reading comments that are not too dissimilar from how unsavory some reactions to the promotion was. I mean, to a point where, when Dan Aykroyd, who's carrying the film and also executive produced it, gave his blessing and his scene, as well as Paul Feig call you out for the way you've been behaving, maybe it's time to maybe dial it back a bit, since it's still, to me, much like the films it's rebooting, being the ideal horror comedy that's a perfect marriage, figuratively speaking, of group comedy and effects-driven horror action. I mean, in sense, and this is definitely one movie that actually benefits from the use of 3D, even if admittedly the format has definitely become rather standard nowadays. There's to a point where it's actually not that much of a deal anymore. But when all the effects are going off and they haven't actually finished some of the work they've done on, especially with the whole final battle in New York, I definitely think it's amazing what technology has come in 32 years, all things considered. I mean, and that's the whole thing. It's simply a story that's being passed down over the years, and and I also managed to suggest that it may not be the same cultural touchstone the original film is, but all things considered, it's definitely, in many ways, improvement over Ghostbusters 2, and I say that as a person who liked that movie. I mean, and as for all these things like how the ectoplasmic gunplay and also taking out this big ghost by hitting him in the junk. I mean, hey, if the original ones compiled the Statue of Liberty as a mech from the Nintendo controller, then these ladies can definitely hit someone in their Johnson. And I also do not take any particular offense at the fact that most of the male characters are kind of ineffectual, but at least the cameos made by the original all surviving members, as Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Ernie Hudson, fit the context of the film. I mean, and Murray in particular has been very reluctant to do so. I guess they finally managed to have him enough of green to change his mind, since nothing can really convince you to come back like making him one richer than Croesus, as your pardon the parlance. And I can also suggest that all things considered, it's actually not as bad as critics would think he would either. Far from it, fact, certified fresh Rotten Tomatoes, one of the more notable quotes, it's given by New York Times, has been FA1, girls are funny, girls rule, women are funny, get over it, man. Which puts it quite succinctly, I would say. I mean, and I think they whipped up a furor that's on the same order of magnitude as, say, the Kirk versus Picard, Han shot first, and yes, even this, and I'll have a chance to talk about it as well, man. But I mean, some people, like, say, James and Brad did not want to see the movie, left it at that. But a whole lot of other people just got so overblown with all their bile that it's actually kind of ridiculous. I mean, I have to wonder if they actually got infected by some of that pink slime Ghostbusters 2, and that's the whole thing. I mean, we may never know what an actual third one would have turned out like. I mean, they did use the script for that video game. I haven't played it, but I heard it was really good. I mean, but if I may suggest, if you have to complain to this degree about how much your childhood is sincerely being ruined, then chances are you probably never had one and all that much to begin with. I mean, because of course it's definitely going to pale in comparison to what the original film accomplished. But on its own, it's definitely the summer blockbuster that we could all use right now, given how what's going on overseas, and also all these how fractured the political landscape looks at home, and also even Chris Hemsworth in this movie, he managed to get some pretty good laughs. That George Kirk and Thor is now this kind of adorkable receptionist who may not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but his heart's at the right price. And the movie is rife with all sorts of mythology gags to the original films. Most elements of some of the cartoons they do as well. In fact, they're actually going to do another cartoon too. That's actually not what I'm not sure going to think about, because they're going to be hitting it in the distant future, or at least not too distant in 2050. But I'm honestly not sure what to think about that, since I mean, if these guys can't even reboot Ben 10 or Powerpuff Girls without people going mad, then I can only imagine what this cartoon's gonna draw. And that's the whole thing. As opposed to a remake, a reboot is still a relatively new concept, since rather than simply trying to go to the same plot points that occurred before, with newer actors, directors, special effects, a reboot essentially just disregards the previous continuity in favor of one that tells its own story but still pays homage to its source material in some way. I mean, my favorite movie is The Dark Knight, after all, since on which definitely he just had the intention of being one part of a story that takes the idea of Batman, making him based in the context of our world, I still suggest that it's simply a story being passed down for the time and made to fit this one. And I still think that McKinnon, Jones, Wig, and McCarthy all have great chemistry. And Paul Feig is a director that has been known to play other strengths, things sort of self-deprecating comedy as well. And even I'm not above poking fun of myself right now, given how I do not have everything I was expecting to at this point in time, but hey, if I got to see a hilarious fiction from movie, and finishing off with a nice pitch black, I got a good day. Yeah, hey, it made sense. I mean, think it's definitely not the only reboot that's coming out this summer now, since I'm still working on the Star Trek ones to get ready for Beyond, which just came out. And as for this whole rumor rebooting Back to the Future, it's just that. It's a rumor. We don't even know if it's true or not. I mean, Zemeckis once said, "You're not going to do this while I'm alive," and they kind of already have it. It's called Rick and Morty. I may not be a big fan of it, but can see why others are, at least. And even amid everything that's going on, I think maybe, regardless of what you think before, I still recommend to see this movie at least once this summer. I mean, that's in the theater, especially in 3D if you get a chance to. Even if not everyone likes it, even that's going to be like one way you could look at it, since it could generate a lot of good reviews from people like Related Media, or I personally am interested to see what someone like CinemaSins or the Honest Trailer people at Screen Junkies are going to think about it as well, man. Because even if you don't end up liking it, and yet you can still get something out of it. I mean, turn it into content, and as I'm doing now. And I went into this movie expecting to like it, and my expectations, by all means, have been met, if not slightly exceeded. So, it may not be my favorite movie of the summer so far, but for what it is, it's actually not as bad as some of the haters would have you believe. It made sense. Because sometimes when a backlash gets so big and get its own backlash, and it's actually doing better financially than I thought as well, given how big other movies have been this summer. And even if not everything goes where you expect it, you can easily have many detours. I mean, I did not expect to be here in 5 years, to be honest, since I started doing this channel, and I definitely am going to have much more to talk about, all things considered, in regards to ghosts. So, I'm going to render my verdict to mean I give this a supernatural, whole effects-driven comedy, a strong 3.5 stars out of 4, and if you still choose to feel the way you do, then I'm not going to stop you from doing so. Right now, however, I'm definitely going to enjoy this, and I'm going to get back to work on doing Star Trek, as well as my review of the Ultimate Cut Batman vs. Superman, so that's all I have to say for now, and next time something like this happens, we're going to call.